Halo as an institution.
I actually drive around in my Dodge Charger SRT8, hammering the Hemi 410 as fast as I can, cranking Marty O'Donnell's Halo score.
It's not just a game we're talking about. This is gaming.
Halo is one of the pioneering video games of the last 10 years.
I am your shield. I am your sword.
Halo is a epic space adventure ROM.
It's high noon with aliens and cool vehicles.
It's a universe, it's a world, it's a state of mind. For a long time, it was the crack of my house.
It's a shoot 'em up.
Pow, 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 pow.
Obviously, ours is based in a very alien sci-fi environment.
Lasers, spaceships, alien creatures, planets.
It's a lot of things to a lot of different people, but to me, Halo is kind of the perfect achievement of storytelling and gameplay, and it gets a rise out of you.
It's kind of the bridge between video games and video game story and making it legitimate as a science fiction story.
Greetings. I am the monitor of Installation 04. Come, this way.
It has elements of things that people love about sci-fi. It has space travel, it has cool objects, it has sci-fi characters, it has holograms, it has, you know, all the sci-fi stuff that people like.
You really become part of the storyline and the world that they've created and what they've built up around you. And it's an intense interactive experience.
It plays like a movie, like a full-fledged science fiction movie.
Like a Star Wars or Star Trek or Aliens. It's, you know, it's timeless almost for the generation that's out there right now.
Chief, when you get to Earth, good luck.
Run through with truth.
Don't make a girl a promise.
If you know you can't keep it.
Halo is going to be the science fiction game that people will remember.
Halo's pretty true to the roots of science fiction. It shows a compelling future that involves where the human race went to at the time and how we evolved militarily and how we explored space and, you know, the possible other races that you could find when you get out there.
Hold on, got a contact.
You've got a great platform in the Xbox 360. You've got the wonderful fiction that's been developed and evolving over the years.
Now I shall talk, and you shall listen.
And you've got the rock-solid gameplay that fans really like.
One of the great things about Halo is the multiplayer aspect.
You can get online and you can play with your friends, which is awesome.
I just played for 6 hours last night, like every other night, and it was great.
It's nice to sit and just murk people out.
When you're playing on your own, you know, you can set your own pacing, you sort of do your own thing. But when you start adding other people into that, everything gets better. Like, the highs get higher and the lows aren't even really lows because, you know, oh, that thing, you know, blew up and got us both, but it got you too.
We've had well over 3 to 4 million unique people play Halo 2 online. Depending on how you go about calculating the numbers, we've had well over 120 to 130,000 simultaneously playing at the same time.
Multiplayer gaming is amazing because there's no language, no race. So it all kind of melts around. You're a red Master Chief, I'm a blue one. And that's it. That's what matters.
I'm playing with my buddy J.J. Abrams, oddly enough, who, you know, created Lost and Alias, and we're playing the game, and we got caught in this one area, and it was just so frustrated. And he's like, call your cousin. I'm like, okay, so I call my cousin. I'm like, well, so what do we do here? And he says, no, you gotta hit the thing. So I'm telling JJ, I'm like, I'm telling him exactly what to do, and he's trying to do it, and he's like, tell him he doesn't know what the he's talking about. And I'm like, dude, he's 7. So this is what we're dealing with.
If this is our future, I'm history. I would not last a second in a real Halo world. I'm a big old fat guy. I would fill my pants with urine, I think, if I even saw an alien.
state of science fiction is kind of like a pendulum. In the 60s up to the 80s, it was very kind of bright. You had the Star Trek kind of happy version of the future. Everybody's perfect. Everybody's a super person. And now you're kind of swinging back where you got a pendulum where it's darker.
Getting into the bigger questions of what is humanity's place in the universe and how are we going to go and take a bigger step out in the stars. Halo goes and really answers those questions.
I think good sci-fi is made up of characters that you really care about, and that's what Halo has. I think that's what this game is all about. It's character and story that you want to participate in.
It's a big story. Humanity has been attacked and eroded by an alien civilization called the Covenant.
When we joined the Covenant, we took an oath. According to our station, all without exception.
There's lots of different alien species in the Covenant, from the Prophet leadership at the top of the pile to the grunt foot soldiers at the bottom of that pile. Then we have the Master Chief. He's our protagonist. In Halo 1, while fighting the Covenant in an ongoing conflict while trying to save humanity from the Covenant, he discovers a couple of secrets. One of those secrets is that on this Halo, on this ring, is a parasitic infestation known as the Flood.
We were fighting the Covenant, suddenly we realized that they aren't really the bad guy. We got someone bigger and badder and someone we have to worry about.
It's this awful parasitic swarm that feeds on anything in its path. It primarily infects, destroys, and takes over the corpses of sentient beings.
The moment that the Flood comes up in the game every time is like, even though I've played it a million times, it's a totally terrifying moment.
The second secret is that the Halo is actually a weapon to destroy the Flood. The Covenant don't know this. They think that the Halo is going to somehow launch them on their great journey. They think it's going to make them gods. They're misinterpreting all the signs. They're refusing to accept the reality of what they've discovered on Halo. And now they've turned their existing hatred towards the humans into something else, something really personal.
I'll kill the demon.
Covenant are, from our perspective as Master Chief, the bad guys. And I say from our perspective because I think it's a trend in science fiction to kind of blur the line between good and bad.
In Halo 3, we actually get to discover a lot about their motivations for their hatred of humanity.
Halo 3 is about, can the Chief pull it off? You know, can the Chief save Earth, or is Earth doomed? You know, is the Covenant going to win? Is the Flood going to take over? How is the world going to end?
Master Chief is the ultimate ass-kicking machine, essentially. And he's the one who humanity's hopes have been kind of pegged to. If he fails, everything can get wiped out.
He wears a mask, and you cannot see who Master Chief is. Therefore, it is very easy for you to imagine that you are Master Chief.
I know Master Chief sounds like a man, but underneath the mask, he's totally me. There's like a little voice filter that makes him sound kind of dude-like.
Relax. I'd rather not piss this thing off.
But if you flipped up the visor, it would totally be, you know, hot, sexy me.
The Master Chief could be a scrawny dude with a pocket protector, glasses, never gets chicks. Maybe when he has a suit on, he gets chicks.
You look nice.
Thank you. Damn. How you doing?
The Arbiter is the flip of Master Chief, if you were to look at it from the Covenant side. He was the elite fighter. He was the hero for the Covenant.
The Arbiter's an interesting character. He's about as controversial a character as we've ever created. One of the big twists in Halo 2 is that the Arbiter discovers that the religion, it's a lie, it's a misinterpretation, it's incorrect.
He realizes that, wait a second, maybe I should have been asking some questions that I wasn't. Maybe none of this really makes a lot of sense, you know? Maybe we're being lied to.
The Arbiter's misunderstood, definitely. He does what is right in his heart rather than what he's told. And also he can wield the plasma sword. That is the greatest weapon ever invented. I wish I could buy it on like eBay. If someone sold a plasma sword on eBay, I would buy it even if it came and it was fake. I would still have to just pay for it to see.
Cortana is, she's a sci-fi convention. She's the sexy female artificial intelligence. She was formerly the AI aboard a large space cruiser, and now she is installed, or was installed, in the Master Chief's armor.
I know you. Your past. Your future.
In Halo 3, one of your main objectives is to find Cortana. And you're not really going to know why she's important to the crux of our universe until you discover her whereabouts and speak to her.
She's essentially Master Chief's His Girl Friday kind of character. She's very, she's his partner, and she's kind of cute.
She's her little cheerleader, her little robotic cheerleader.
Master Chief, you have to hurry up. The ship is taking off. Oh, I'll stay here. Master Chief, come on, stop trying to kill the Flood. Get on that ship.
I'm trying to break heads here, lady. Shut it.
I do have a real life Cortana, and it's called my wife.
Halo has been influenced a lot by different aspects of sci-fi, and what is really interesting and funny and unique is the fact that sci-fi is now borrowing off of what Halo has done, and it's gone full circle.
Halo is Larry Niven's Ring World with a little sprinkling of Ian M. Banks' culture with a great big dose of Quake mixed in.
It's taking movies that you've always wanted to be a part of and making you a part of it.
I think if you compare even one episode of a video game trilogy to a famous movie trilogy, let's say Lord of the Rings, that's 6, 7, maybe 8 hours of entertainment. A video game, one episode of a video game is going to play out anywhere between 11 and 18 hours of gameplay. I can watch Lord of the Rings 15 times consecutively. It's never going to change. It's always going to be the same movie. But Halo, I go back and play it again. I can change the narrative on the fly, by choice and by accident. So it never really plays out exactly the same way.
We definitely want to evoke all the things that people love about those movies, like Aliens, about, like Total Recall or, Star Wars. Any of that stuff is great background for us to look at and say, what did they do that's really cool and what did they do that's right?
If you have to compare Halo to movies, I guess it would be like Aliens meets Die Hard meets 3 Men and a Baby. I don't know, I just think everything should have a little 3 Men and a Baby in it. It's a perfect movie.
It's a very tricky balance in Halo, and a tricky balance between fiction and between the statistical analysis and science that we're trying to put into the game to balance out weapons and to balance out vehicles. The fiction is ultimately the king of what's going on.
Halo is a piece of science fiction, and I think that's what makes it such a successful game and such a rich game and such a fun game to play, because you do feel like there is a real backstory, there is a real through line, there's a thread that's bigger than just the day-to-day gaming play.
This is not your grave.
Bungie is the creator and developer of the Halo series. It's using the most advanced video game technology with the Xbox 360 to go and tell a story about far future technology that we can't even think of having right now.
For the first time, video games are getting to the point where it's not what you can do, it's what you want to do.
The technology that we use allows us to layer things in a way that you can't do in a movie. Since we're not sure exactly what the player is going to do and exactly when they're going to do it, the game has to be able to respond to the speed at which the player plays.
The Xbox 360 just lets us have the horsepower to pretty much achieve what we set out to achieve in the first place, which is big scale battles, very compelling and convincing alien intelligence, and huge vistas.
The expanse in front of you is almost limitless, which is what a battlefield really is. It's defined by the borders, and then the borders within this are massive at times.
We draw 5, 6, 10 miles out into the distance. That mountain in the background, it's not a painting that we'd have had to do in Halo 1. It's real 3D geometry.
You almost kind of look around and go, wow, this would be like a nice place to visit if there weren't aliens shooting at me every 3 seconds.
I think one of the ways that Halo sold itself to me as a rich universe has to be the way that I was first immersed into it in the game. When I was brought down to the first world and the dropship, the scope of that landscape, that made me feel that I had been transported to this other world.
Halo was the first gaming environment that really felt immersive. You felt like you were inside a real world, and that even outside of the moment or the place that you were playing in, there was a whole universe of stuff that was going on that you weren't even seeing at that moment.
Halo was all about making epic skies and epic vistas that you can run around and explore, and you can hop in a vehicle and you can just take off over the hill, and you have, aliens chasing you from behind.
Objective in sight! Watch for heavy armor!
On Halo, you have to look here, 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 because something's coming at you from that direction.
You know what I catch myself doing when I play Halo, and it's embarrassing to say, but I lean. Like, I'm literally playing the game, and I want to know who's behind the corner.
You have a 360-degree field of view you have to pay attention to, or you're dead.
In the game, you're out in daylight and running around and killing things, and monsters are coming at you, and it's pretty outside, which is strange.
When you're playing this game on this new console, it's the cinematic experience, the thing that we're all looking for, that suspension of disbelief, that you want when you go to a good movie or you get caught up in a good story. It's that much easier for them to accomplish.
It's unlimited what you can do, so we have to be careful too, because people's imaginations run wild, and you come back, and you're like, oh, how are we ever going to do that? It's going to take forever.
In addition to better graphics, in addition to more elaborate landscapes, you can make your enemies smarter.
AI stands for artificial intelligence. And in video games, what that means is, how do the enemies react to the player?
You'll see a brute, for example, throw down a bubble shield, not to protect himself, but to cover his grunt foot soldiers, because he's going to try and flank you.
If you have a game with bad AI, then the guys just kind of stand there. But if you have a game with good AI, then they'll run away when you throw a grenade, or they'll duck behind something to get away from you shooting at them.
And he's going to hide, and then maybe pop out and look at you and try and shoot you and hide again. And then depending on what you do, his reaction's different.
We don't allow our AI to take any shortcuts. There's no magic sight that the AI has, so they always know where you are, so that they're always positioned in the right spot. They follow the same principles that the player does.
I mean, it's data from Star Trek without the emotion chip. I mean, that's one step away,
One of the things that I worked on is the combat dialogue. We have 40 to 60,000 unique lines of combat dialogue in the game.
We have these things called AI triggers. That actor is in a particular situation. They usually have up to 10 or 12 different things that they could say.
Get down! That thing's gonna kill us!
And you multiply that times, 30 actors in the game and 384 AI triggers, and you end up with an awful lot of dialogue.
The demon, he's here, You get all these just silly but fun and relevant little bits of dialogue.
This would be a grunt getting shot in the leg.
I believe that there's absolutely a scientific way that one can approach fun.
In the world of gaming, I think Bungie is, without a doubt, the leader in the idea of the science of fun.
I think there's a lot to be said about exploring the science of fun, and we just want to ramp everything up and even make it more exciting.
Halo's it's fun whether you're playing the story or the multiplayer, because it was built around this idea that you should have extreme action for about 30 seconds at a clip.
It's just so satisfying because I'm just the crusher.
I just like shooting things.
Reload.
We create this 30 seconds that is really fun for the player, and they will be willing to repeat that same 30 seconds of fun over and over and over again.
The fact that, Bungie's got this 30 seconds of fun, great. Make it 15 seconds of fun. That's fine for me. I want things just coming at me all the time.
They have a testing facility, the super top secret kind of, James Bond lab.
We go over to Microsoft's labs. They take one person, they set them down in a room. There's a couple cameras in the room, one filming their hands, one filming the screen, one filming their face.
There's a huge statistical science behind the amount of data that we're collecting to analyze the gameplay of Halo. The amount of kills that are happening, the types of weapons that are being used to make those kills, the locations of those kills on a map physically.
They're actually studying the way that players feel as they're experiencing it.
I think it's a matter of time until you start hooking people up to MRIs and seeing what part of the brain is stimulated when they're having fun, and use that as their metric for determining who's having fun at what point in the game. I think people take their fun pretty seriously.
The more real it is on all aspects of it, the more layered it is, the more stimulated I am, and it keeps me playing.
What makes Halo work as a game is that perfect storm of technology and fiction and gameplay that all came along at the right way at the right time.
I think we're definitely always balancing the fiction and the science versus the art, and making sure that it works. But we push the boundaries a little bit.
I think this is going to be the masterpiece. Just from a visual standpoint, Halo 3 is a mind blower.
Every now and then there's a huge leap forward in the evolution of console gaming, and Halo 3 is that.
At the end of the day, you can talk about that the game's been in development for 2 years, and there's 300 people, thousands of people working on the game, and the technology, and the story, and the weaponry, and how detailed that all the details are, and the vistas and everything. Great! At the end of the day, is it a fun game? That's what I want to know. And without question, the answer is yes.
I'm most proud of how we're taking all these different things. We're taking, alien worlds, and we're taking multiplayer gameplay, and we're taking the story, and all these things that are these different elements of a sci-fi, story or a sci-fi game, and they all come together in a really coherent way.
Halo 3 is definitely the conclusion of this trilogy. There's no bait and switch here. You're going to see conclusions to the story arcs, to the characters' arcs.
In every way, Halo 3 is the final chapter of the Chiefs story.
I'm really disappointed it's the last game. I think that's kind of bull. You can believe that. Because it feels like this is like a long-term kind of epic story, and should go on and on and on and on. Because there's got to be another Halo ring out there somewhere. You can't destroy them all. The universe is infinite.
Next on Sci-Fi, Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Look at that. That was freaking crazy.
I think we caught something. Ghost Hunters premieres this Wednesday at 9 on Sci-Fi.